Hello, and welcome back to a special edition of Make It Yappen. I'm Bethany and this is Sian.
Hello.
Hello. And we also have a special guest today, Izzie.
Hey girls.
Hello.
Hello.
Izzie, we usually come prepared with advice for the week, so what is your advice for the week?
I say eat the cake and book the holiday.
As you should.
Yes, love that.
As you should. Sian, babe, what is your advice for the week?
My advice for the week is you can always tell someone to fuck off tomorrow. So in other words, just take a minute to cool down.
Love that. And again, ironic from you.
I know. Far too horrible for me, that. And what is your advice for the week, my love?
My advice is, there are good ships, and there are wood ships, and the ships that sail the seven seas. But the best ships are the friendships. So here's to you and me.
Oh my god.
I'm dumb, I don't get it.
Right, well, we'll just get into the episode then, shall we?
Yeah, let's go.
So today I want to talk about grief. Because I feel like one of the reasons why we've got Izzie on today as well is because we've all got different experiences of grief. And I think it'd just be really nice to talk about like how they've all affected us differently.
It's not really something that's that talked about, I don't think, either.
No.
Especially not in the UK.
No, I feel
Far
like,
away from it.
yeah, everyone's a bit sort of tight-lipped about grieving, and I think, like, especially now, like, trying to grieve in a modern world where there's not really the opportunity to switch off.
Mm.
But before we get into, like, the death aspect of it, I kind of want to talk about what grieving's like when there hasn't been death. Because I think you go through stages of life and chapters of life where you can grieve and no one's died.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And whether that's, like, friendships, for example. I know, like, I've had friendships in the past where letting go of a friend is really difficult. Really, really difficult. But, like, it's been for the best.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, that sometimes, I don't know whether it's just because I've not had anyone close to me really die, but I found that really difficult, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
Grief. It can still be harrowing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, what about you guys? Have you guys had friends where, like, you've had to let go of them and it's been really difficult?
Yeah, I think, like, everyone's kind of been through something in their life where they've had to let something go.
Mm.
And it is really hard to do. Because
Yeah.
it is a death in a way.
Have you ever been, like, relieved from, or, like having relief in grief through that?
For sure. I think just as people evolve, I mean, sort of correct me if I'm wrong, but as people evolve, you know, the life paths don't remain on the same track, and it can naturally kind of go that way. I mean, I suppose it happens when you're in primary school and you'll have really close friends and you grow up and you get new interests and you become a new person again, and you make new friends and old friends kind of veer off into their own paths as well, and that happens throughout life no matter what. I think that people think that, you know, you get to a certain age and then those are the friends that you're going to keep for life. It's just not always the case, and that, I mean, life is just hard. Growing is hard, and that's all part of that, I think.
Yeah.
And things change as well. Like, you can grieve being young, you grieve that part of your life, but actually you don't want to be there. It's just that you're grieving that once was part of your life, which was massive at the time.
I feel like people's, like, biggest grief, I always see, like, people being like, oh, wasn't life so good when? And it's always, like, a period of time when they were, like, 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. No GCSEs, no responsibilities.
No bills.
Yeah, no bills. No breakups. That's another one. Although, on a personal note, I don't really feel like I've grieved an ex-boyfriend.
Have you not?
No.
I've seen so many people, because I've not been through a breakup myself.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a bit nuts.
Yeah.
But I've been there for friends who have been through really horrible breakups.
Yeah.
And, you know, the initial reaction to that breakup is absolutely, unequivocally grief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
Because it's a massive part of your life has just ended.
It's once again, you're like grieving the time frame again, isn't it? It's like, I don't miss that person at all.
No.
But I do miss where I was myself at that period of time. So I'm grieving that instead of the human being.
Yeah.
I think for me, especially with, like, breakups and, like, friendships, specifically, like, I grieve, like, that nostalgia.
Yeah.
Where I was at that time, like...
Massively.
And who I was hanging around with and what my life looked like and that sort of thing. It's a change, right?
And the potential that... Like, when you were happy in that moment, the potential that had to become something so much more and carry on being something so much more, and then suddenly that possibility isn't a thing anymore. That's just cannot be possible now.
I'll let you in on a secret, actually.
Oh, aye.
In my last breakup, I cried after we broke up. Bearing in mind we were together for 4 years, I cried twice.
Yeah, man.
That says everything.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, and it's not because I'm some sort of, like, hardened person with, like, no fucking soul. I was there just, like, it was just sweet relief. The first time was obviously the day we broke up.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time was thinking about the fact that we were supposed to celebrate our anniversary on holiday. And I was specifically crying because we were supposed to be booked in to get massages.
Oh,
and I don't know whether I was grieving the fact that I wouldn't be able to do that with him.
The spa day.
Or whether
grieving the spa.
I was grieving the spa. I didn't give a shit whether he was there or not. I was just like, oh, well, I can't get the fucking spa thing anymore. So maybe it was just the once, actually. But again, it's not because I'm not feeling. It was just because it was just a shit show, I guess. Like, probably that I grieved during the relationship.
Yeah.
It's that I think I did actually grieve a lot during the relationship. Thinking about it, it was. I think the worst point was. I remember I had a birthday. It was like my 24th birthday or something like that, and he'd planned nothing.
Oh, stop.
No cake, like no flowers, no. Like breakfast.
So just another day then.
Just another day. I remember I cried about it and I was like, oh, is there no cake? Are we not going to do like a cake or whatever? He dropped me off at my flat, took my car to go to the gym, and I remember he handed me a Victoria sponge out of the car window.
That's absolutely horrific.
What the genuine fuck?
I feel like because I need such a fuss on my birthday as well, that makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry the most now than if we talk about my mum, honestly.
Literally, I remember I got back up to the flat and I was holding this Victoria sponge and I was clutching at my chest because my heart felt like broken.
Oh, babe.
Because it was just like such a display of like not caring and then
just apathy, isn't it?
Yeah, handed me a cake and then drove off to the gym.
That is
in my
insane.
car.
God, of course it was the gym.
Obviously.
Oh, these men.
So I think that's been like the closest thing I've had to like that's been like a lot of grief. I think the grief that I'm going through currently now would be like I've got a ill grandparent and the type of illness that they have means that they are dying slowly in front of me, which is really sad. So that I've never lost a grandparent before. I've got 6. So
what?
One got divorced and then remarried.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
thinking like, oh my god, am I stupid?
Yeah.
I don't understand how that works.
How am I missing out on like 5 grandparents?
But it's so weird because I was talking to Joss, and Joss doesn't have any of his grandparents. They all died when he was quite young. But I will have to experience grieving all of them in my adult life, along with like my parents and then other relatives, obviously. And that's like a really crazy thing for me because I've never experienced it, and I don't know whether it's actually going to be worse because I'm going to be like fully conscious and present for it, or whether it might be better because my adult brain should be able to process it. I'm not too sure.
Well, the way it kind of worked for me was, so I had a great-grandparent die when I was 7. And I don't think I really understood the concept of what was happening fully. But it hurt.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But I was more concerned with the emotions of the adults around me who were very clearly upset.
Yeah.
Because I all I could see was their suffering.
Yeah.
So I was like, aware of what was happening, but not really. And then I think I was taken to a memorial service, not a funeral, it was like a memorial service at a church in Barrow. And I got very upset there because I feel like that was the first time that I kind of started to grasp the concept of, oh, she's really not here anymore.
Yeah.
And I got very upset there. And then I wasn't allowed to the funeral because I'd they were like, she's probably not going to be able to handle it.
Yeah.
Then losing a grandparent who had a big sort of involvement in my upbringing as well, as an adult, was so much harder.
Oh, so what you're saying is that I'm in for a really rough ride.
Yeah, babe. Sorry. Sorry, babe, that wasn't... I'm sorry, that's not what you want to hear, is it? But
Well, I kind of expected that, though. Like, it's weird. I don't know what's worse is the fact that my, like, grandparent who's ill is going to suffer. I'm going to see them suffer through this. And not only that, but affect my other grandparent who's looking after them and is having to take on, like, more of a carer role. Obviously, we're helping her out as a family, but, like, they're having to deal with that 24/7.
yeah.
So I don't know whether the grief is worse seeing that, because, like, they have good days and they have bad days, or whether it'd be worse if they just dropped dead out of the blue, or, you know, just died in the sleep or something like that. I don't know. I mean, for you, Izzie, like, you went through, I guess, the same sort of thing in terms of seeing somebody who was sick and then...
Yeah, and I've got a friend, I'm sure she won't mind me saying this, it was more of a sudden death.
Yes.
And we've spoken about that before, and she was like, there's kind of no comparing in terms of sudden is just as bad as seeing them ill for such a long amount of time. It's like there's no weighing up which one would be worse.
Yeah.
At all.
The end result is the same.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the devastation and the grief is still the same.
Yeah.
So... what we're saying is that there's no good way to die.
No,
You've just got to go through it.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Apologies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in terms of, like, your stages of grief then, what have you found kind of hit you first?
It's weird. I feel like the first year after my mum had died, so this was 2020, I just didn't really know that it had actually happened in my own brain.
Yeah.
There was no processing at that point because there was nothing to process for me. It was just like my brain wasn't allowing anything to happen at all. Maybe because it was too hard for my brain to process, or maybe just the numbness. I don't really know, to be honest. I feel like I've only really started to actually do the grief part more recently, which I know it seems such a long amount of time, is 5 years, but it's only now setting in that it's actually happened, weirdly.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, my brain's just not allowed me to go through that at all.
Do you think that was, like, a protective thing? Or...
I guess. I don't really know. I don't know if it was too big for my brain to handle, or my brain was saying, let's not handle it now. I don't know which.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Let's box it up and come back to it at a different time where you're more compos mentis. Because I think as well, yours was such a unique scenario because your mum had been ill for a while, and then it happened during the pandemic.
It did, yeah.
And then you weren't even allowed to grieve in the way that you'd normally
no, I
grieve.
couldn't see any of my friends. Like, I was totally locked up in my own place, and it was kind of like, I just have my dad here, which, God love him, he was great throughout the entire thing, but, like, I just was like, I cannot see my friends, I cannot do what I would have done. Kind of a blessing in disguise in a way, because I couldn't just go to the pub and drink my feelings, which could have been the worst thing to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really weird period of time.
Yeah. I mean, for you, was your nan, was she ill for a while, or was it half sudden?
I suppose, in my brain, it was sudden, but it wasn't really. So she had a first instance of illness in the November of 2022, I think.
Yeah.
Try to think now. And it was a mini stroke. It was a TIA. And she seemed fine after that.
Yeah.
And then in December, was it December? Yeah, the end of December, so it was actually New Year's Eve. She had a massive stroke and was taken to hospital, and then it was 10 days in hospital of her fighting. And it was the longest 10 days of my life. Yeah. I can't lie. Like, we were at the hospital most of the time. We'd sort of take shifts. People would go home and have a nap and come back. And it felt like months. Yeah. Honestly. And then she died on the 10th of Jan. So, yeah. It wasn't sudden. But, like you say, no matter what, no matter how it happens, it is so fucking difficult. It's one of the most difficult things I've ever been through in my life. It's completely life-changing.
Yeah.
You can't really cushion it for people that haven't been through it.
No.
It's just something that has got to happen. It's going to happen to you.
Yeah. Long term then, do you feel like you grieved it at the time, or do you still feel like there's bits that you're grieving now?
Oh yeah, I'm still grieving.
You're still grieving?
Yeah, mega.
What does that look like?
Weird. It was weird for me because I've not been through grief before. It was the first time experiencing it, especially with a close family member that had been such a massive part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
My first and foremost concern was my mum.
Yeah.
So I think in the first maybe a few months to a year was really trying to be a rock for the family.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really address my own feelings much. And I think it took 6 months for me to properly cry. Like I did cry a little bit.
Yeah.
But not like, I mean, if we're talking about having a heebie-jeebie meltdown, it took about 6 months.
Yeah.
And I was in the bath on my own and I phoned my dad and I just screamed down the phone.
Mm.
I know. And he was at a funeral, God love him.
Oh,
He was at a different funeral. So, but he dealt with it very, very well. And I hope my mum, I'm sure she won't mind me saying, I don't think that she has had a meltdown over it at all.
Mm. Do you think
Because-
you need that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did, yeah. Because you need to clear the pipes, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you had a lot going on. This was like pre your wedding though, wasn't it?
yeah, so she died 9 months before my wedding.
Yeah.
So I had a really difficult time of it because we're on the run up to my wedding. I'm literally in the middle of wedding planning. And I had to be happy.
Yeah.
I had to be happy about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm marrying the love of my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was also hard because the last thing that my nana said to me was, he makes you so happy, doesn't he?
Aww.
About Jod. Oh, and also asked where he was. Like, I was like, am I not enough? She's like, where's Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, really fucking hard because she should have been there.
Yeah, she should have been.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, you grieve those moments we were talking about, like, before this, talking about, like, different milestones in your life. And I guess that is, like, your reminder that, like, you are going to grieve every time you think about that, because I know, Izzie, you were speaking about when Josh buy her a ring.
7 years,
Yeah.
baby.
It's time, bye.
You know, when you guys get married, you know, your mum's not going to be there.
It's also like the fact we've just moved in together. And I think because I was at my dad's when she died and I was still at my dad's up until recently,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether it's kind of toppled the grief a little bit because I've moved into a house and it's a milestone and I'm like, oh my God, like this is all real now and it's actually happened,
Mm-hmm.
which is a really weird situation. Like you want to ring her like, how long does this take in the microwave? Like just little things like that and I can't. So it's kind of like one of those things that's been difficult to get around. And also with it being a woman, I've become the woman now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'm the one that everyone comes to and it's like, what? Like, how do I do that? I'm
You're
just
the
like a
matriarch.
little girl.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? It's me now. So that's been weird as well.
Yeah.
I think that, weirdly enough, like when my nana died, that's happened to my mum. She is now the matriarch.
Yeah,
I think
it's
that's
weird.
freaking her out.
Yeah.
But like now things that she does remind, she's like, fuck me, I've become a
Yeah.
mum. But that's kind of a nice thing.
Yeah.
Because they still live through you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a really nice way of looking at it. Definitely. I mean, I guess what's the weirdest thing that's made you grieve then? That's like popped up and you've been like,
Oh my word.
Oh, that's a hard question.
Mm.
I don't actually know. Because I know like a lot of people look for signs and stuff, don't they?
they do, yeah.
So like, you know, I've known people who've got upset if they see a white feather, 'cause that's quite a common one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or a robin.
Yeah.
And little signs like that, and they sort of get upset about things like that, which seem daft, but they're so meaningful. But I don't really think I've had anything like that.
I just thought of one.
Oh, go on.
So me and Josh had just had a bit of an argument, but we went to the resting place where my mum is, and he had locked his car, and we went down to where the bridge is, and a branch fell on Josh. And I was like, yep.
That is brilliant.
That's so on
So that was
brand.
one of those moments where I was like, oh man, that was good.
Yeah, Debbie's here and she hates you.
That
Take
is
notes.
so on brand for Debs. Oh my god. Yeah.
So good.
That was 100% her. I know that, like, it's a bit of a weird question, but some people, like, they need to see the person who's died when they've died to kind of process that. I don't know whether you guys have any conflicting opinions on that or any which way. I know you were saying that you saw...
I saw my nana.
Yeah, but Jordan didn't.
Yeah, so I had to see her.
Yeah.
I'm that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw her twice. Once when she died in a hospital. And she was in a ward with, like, the curtain round, because obviously the NHS is under a lot of pressure. God love them. So I saw her then, and that was, a life-forming, life-changing moment for me.
Yeah.
But important for me to do.
Okay.
And then I went to see her when she'd been sort of dressed and done up by the funeral people.
Yeah.
Which was a much nicer experience. Because what a fucking phenomenal job they do, by the way.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
She looked unreal. She looked absolutely unbelievable. And people say, they look like they're sleeping. When you first see them and they haven't been through a funeral home, no, they don't. That's a bit of a lie.
Is it more graphic than that? I would imagine it is.
I wouldn't say graphic, just not normal.
Uncanny Valley type.
It's just weird. It's just not right. It's just not right. But yeah, still had to be done. But then when you go to a funeral home, I can firmly say, genuinely thought she was asleep.
Wow.
They did a fucking unbelievable job. The only hint that obviously they're not asleep is when you touch them, because they're very, very cold. That's it.
Wow.
But she looked amazing. They did unbelievable. Those people that do those jobs, angels.
Yeah. Was it open casket or was it?
No, not a funeral.
Like that.
No. I think it's a weird one, that, because, like, it's not the done thing, I don't think.
It's haunting, I have to say.
It's a bit odd.
It's a bit odd.
I don't know if I'd have been fine with that, like, no, closed casket at the creme.
Right, okay.
But Jordan, on the other hand, he'd been given the option, when we were at the hospital, obviously we all got the opportunity to see her.
Yeah.
And Jordan we were going in pairs.
Yeah.
And I ended up going with my dad because Jordan categorically was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I do not want to see her. I want to remember her as the last time I saw her.
Yeah.
And I was like, completely understand that. And then I gave him, I said to him, there's another opportunity. If you need a bit of closure, because he loved her as his own nana.
Yeah.
They were very close. So I said to him, if you want to see her, you want that closure, please come with me to the funeral home if you want to. Only if you want to. And again, he was like, thanks for asking, but no, absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, absolutely fair enough. I mean, I don't know how...
I mean, yeah, I was offered a few times, and to be honest, almost told to a little bit by a few people, like, oh, it'll make you feel better, like, it'll give you a bit of closure. But I was just a bit like, I don't really feel comfortable doing it on a personal level, but also I didn't want anything that actually reminded me that she was dead.
Yeah.
So I feel like seeing her would have been like, well, there she is, like, so I just wasn't ready for that, basically.
That's fair
is what
enough.
it comes down to.
Do you think it felt like it would have brought on a grief that you maybe weren't ready for?
Yeah, for sure. And like, maybe if I'd go back now, would I have done it? I don't know, but I just wasn't. It wasn't the right decision for me. So
I think with your mum as well, because she'd been ill for a while, like leading up to it.
I have no idea what she'd have been like. Basically,
When you see her,
not knowing.
It's you see her, and it's one thing them being dead, obviously, but like another thing, seeing them where they've been ill and they're not who you remember them as anyway, and then they've died because of said illness.
You've also got to put a lot of trust in the fact that the body that you're about to see is going to look like the person that you know.
Yeah.
So you're putting a lot of trust into people that you've not even met, who have, like, took care of the body. You've got to put a lot of trust in them that they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And the unknown of that, I can imagine, is just a bit overwhelming, and I can absolutely see why people are like, no, I can't do that.
Couldn't have done it, I don't think.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I think that's fair enough, and I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way to to kind of tackle that, because if you need it to grieve, then yeah, fair enough.
Mm.
I always thought that maybe I'd be like that, but now when I think about it, it's like sometimes the less I know,
The better.
the better.
Ignorance can be bliss when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, and sometimes I do want to be. I think if it came down to it, I would want to be a bit ignorant.
Also, it depends how they died.
Yeah,
Like
it
we
does.
just said, like, I mean, I don't even know if I said, my mum, she had cancer and it was of the throat. So it was all puffed up here, but her face, because her immune system was totally broken down by that point, her face was completely puffed up as well.
Yeah.
So I felt like if I'd seen her like that, it would have been a real issue, because it was the pandemic and I didn't want to come home with COVID and kill her. I ended up moving in with my dad for the last kind of period of time that she was alive, because I was like, I just can't even, I don't want to bring anything back to the house, basically. So I didn't, like, I saw her, but I didn't see her at her absolute, like, she's about to die kind of thing until we were at the hospice.
Right.
So I just didn't want to see all the illness again. Like,
That's
I didn't
fair
want to
enough.
have to see it again, basically. I want to remember her how I did
Yeah.
before that.
Yeah.
So
Do you think that's definitely helped then in that scenario?
I have no idea. I don't know if maybe I should have dealt with it at the time. I don't know, but it just didn't feel right at the time. So
No,
Yeah, you've got to do what feels right.
yeah,
that's it.
That's all you can do.
I don't think there's not many wrong ways
no.
to grieve, if I'm being perfectly honest.
No.
But there's loads of different ways to cope with it. I mean, one of my favourite things is seeing when somebody has died, like somebody who I know has had someone close to them die, is them definitely try to take the humorous side out of it.
If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, like I was talking to you before this about...
It's going to be my brother, isn't it?
Yeah. Oscar, Izzie's brother, tweeted... I remember it so vividly because I genuinely think it's one of the funniest things ever. Oscar had tweeted that there was this rumour going around that a very popular Chinese restaurant in Ulverston was shutting. And Oscar had tweeted that that was the worst thing that ever happened to him
In his life.
in his life.
And I was like, Oscar, our mother is dead.
Oh my god.
Like, I don't know if you're forgetting that.
But no, like, he was more concerned about the fact
The
that he
Chinese takeaway. You know what? Priorities. I get it.
Fair play.
the salt and pepper chips are
He's
very,
devilled.
very good from there. So I understand
And it is
his
still
grief.
open, however, my mother is still dead, so...
Oh my god. Oh Jesus.
Particularly in our friendship group, there's a few people in our friendship group that have had parents pass away. I really, really take enjoyment out of the fact that you all really enjoy making people uncomfortable by making dead parent jokes.
Oh my god.
Absolutely.
There is a couple of them that, like, they'll say something and then you'll have like an acquaintance sat round, we'll be at the pub or whatever. They'll have an acquaintance sat round and the acquaintance is there like,
Oh my god. That would be me. I'd be like, holy shit, what do I do
It's
here?
so weird
Yeah.
with grief though, because like we were saying about people can't grieve properly in the UK, the fact we can make jokes but we can't have a serious conversation, I don't understand why we're like that.
It's mad, isn't it?
Like, oh, I don't want to talk about it, but also, like, what is that?
I know, it's so weird. I don't know if it's like British culture as well, because like, there just doesn't seem to be like that talking element of it. There doesn't seem to be...
It's not something more talked about, no.
No, and like, it should be. It sounds really obvious, but like,
It should be.
why aren't you talking about it? And you're not putting on people either, I don't think.
I think you almost feel like you do though. Like, I know that if I turned to you guys, you would listen and it would be fine. But I don't want to turn to people because I feel like they will then tread lightly around me and I don't want that. I don't want the eggshells around it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people get uncomfortable maybe. It's not great, but it's kind of how that's worked societally in the UK.
See, I'm completely different because if someone, especially if they're like making jokes about like people who are close to them that have died, I want to join in.
Yeah.
And I do. And then I have been told off for it, to be fair. Like, and that's absolutely fair enough, but it's so difficult because obviously, especially for me personally, because I've not had anyone really close to me die, definitely not a parent, not even a grandparent, like, I almost feel like a bit of a hypocrite from joining in sometimes because I want to join in the joke.
I think this is why it's so important to talk about grief though, because I think if people talk about it a bit more, then the people who haven't had it happen to them yet might be a little bit more prepared for it.
Yeah.
Because you're literally wandering into the unknown. And what isn't okay for you to sort of do and say. Whereas you might have more of an inkling if people actually spoke about it a bit more.
So true.
Do you think your stages of grief were the same?
No, I don't think they would be.
What would you say like your main stages of grief were then between you?
I mean, to be fair, I'm trying to think of what are the stages of grief when you look it up. I'm trying to think of what that is.
I think it's like...
But at the same time, I feel like maybe I've had the stages of grief, but they've not been in that order.
Yeah, I don't think they're meant to be in an order.
No.
It can happen at any time.
Yeah.
Because I know because people say denial is obviously the main one that you go through at first.
At first, yeah.
Which does make sense for me because I was in denial. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be reminded. I didn't even want to go to the funeral. I was just like, I don't want to be reminded that she's gone. So it's kind of that is denial. But I don't know what the other ones actually are.
So there's anger, bargaining, depression and acceptance. So I think anger... For sure.
Yeah, you're more predisposed.
I am more predisposed to anger anyway. So yeah, I was fucking angry. It's very much a feeling of, well, life isn't fair and fuck everything.
Yeah.
Like, fuck everyone. Why is this happening to me kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of that.
The bitterness of it all as well. You're like, you've got your mum, you fucking dick. Like, but it's like, why do I feel that way? Like, but I did at first. I was like, don't you talk to me. You've got a mum. Like, you're absolutely fuming about it for some reason.
As you would be though. I think that is pretty bob on.
And that still comes back on Mother's Days, but
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
That meme that you shared, by the way, like I laugh reacted to that, but it's like, do I have? Am I allowed? But it was really funny. Her mum's dead and she's bitter about it. And she put a really funny meme about it. Like,
you are allowed to laugh.
We're not laughing at you. We're laughing at you.
Yeah. That's exactly it. So sometimes I'm a bit like, oh, it is difficult because I have to tread lightly because I don't want to upset anybody. It's because it's like it's a joke, but am I allowed to laugh, or is the purpose of the joke to get the bitterness out and I guess kind of be like, oh, it's a fuck you to anybody who's got that relative or got that friend or whatever.
Yeah.
Curious, bargaining, how does that work? Because...
So it's like when people are like, oh, if only I'd have done this and if only I'd have done that, and I wonder if it wouldn't have happened if I'd have done this, or... I didn't have that.
Well, there's nothing you could have done.
No, I didn't have that at all. Actually, did I? I don't think it was bargaining, I think it was more like regret that I just didn't visit a bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, I only lived down the road from him, like, but...
and you saw her often.
Yeah.
It's interesting, that one, actually, because now with, like, we were talking about it with my parents, like, they're trying to say to me, like, look, this is your opportunity to now visit your grandparent that's ill.
Yeah.
And so I am taking, obviously, more opportunities to see them because she's absolutely, like, my mum and my dad are absolutely right.
Yeah.
This is it. In a way, it's kind of half a blessing because I know it's coming, I don't know when, so make the most of the time, basically.
Absolutely, because, like, obviously when you go through it, at least then part of the grief that you'll experience won't be, oh, I should have done this and I should have done that, because you know that you did.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a bit of a comfort, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't think I had that. My granddad had that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think my mum did either. My mum's grief doesn't work like anyone else's I've ever seen, though, to be fair, so not a clue.
We had it in a way. I remember my mum was also going through the menopause and cancer, which is insane.
That's absolutely bonkers.
But she was going through menopause, and I know that you can get swollen lymph nodes when you're going through the menopause, so she just put it down to that for quite a while. So I do wonder, had she gone a lot sooner, that it would have been, but who knows? And you can't live like that, so...
No, you can't.
It might be a bit of a personal question, but how did she find out then? What was the...
She ended up going to the doctors after a while.
Right.
And then getting a lot of tests done, so yeah.
Right.
She did after a while, but I feel like she should have done it sooner, but yeah.
It's that thing, yeah. I see why bargaining...
Yeah,
is a bit of a... That would fuck me up.
Yeah, it's
like, why didn't we push her to do it, but why would we have done it? Because if she was saying, oh, you get it in menopause, what? Like, are we not meant to trust her? Like, so.
Yeah, exactly. You sort of take that as it is, don't you?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? The other one's like depression, so that is, well, it is what it is.
Yes,
yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
We know her.
We've met her before.
So
Interestingly, they did try and put me on antidepressants after my mum died because I said
Immediately?
how I was really depressed. But I remember being like, no, I think I'm supposed to be depressed.
Yeah.
Like,
This is normal.
yeah.
Antidepressants are such a weird one as well because they make you. I'm right in thinking, because I've never actually been on them, I'm right in thinking that they don't make you feel anything. So
I couldn't cry and couldn't come when I was on antidepressants,
Yeah.
basically.
Retweet.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Exactly the same.
yeah, whereas like I don't know, it's kind of like, you know, when you have your period and you feel new again. I feel like because you've got all like a lot of the emotions out and it feels like a cleanse. I feel like antidepressants to an extent prohibit that.
Yeah, so they staunch the drop into depression,
Right.
but they also staunch you going up into happiness as well.
So you just
So you're on a level playing field the whole time.
Ooh.
Which is terrible.
It
It's
is.
like, I want to feel sadness too. Like,
Yeah.
realistically.
You don't want to feel like I get it, because if you're feeling like absolutely world crippling sadness, and that's the best you can kind of get to, then yeah, fair enough.
Which is great, because like especially when you first you're spiralling into depression, antidepressants are net and they're brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
But then after a certain length of time that you've been on them, if you're starting to feel like, well, I'm not in the pits anymore, but I can't feel anything.
Yeah.
I just don't feel a fucking thing. And then there's things that'll happen to you, like good things in your life that'll happen to you, and you can't feel excited about them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that sucks.
So that's when you sort of get the inkling. Maybe you should start winning off, babe. You know, get some serotonin back.
So did they say to you, like, when your mum died, were they just like, sertraline?
They almost don't want to give you therapy, do they? I feel like the GPs sometimes. Or they'll put you on a massive waiting list and it's like, I need it now, so
Yeah.
that's not going to work. We did get offered grief therapy, but I, once again, didn't feel like I could talk about it because there was nothing to talk about at the time. But they basically were like, yeah, the option is we can put you on sertraline, basically. And I was just like, I will think about it, but I don't think that's right for me to do.
No.
I already feel numb. Like, I can't feel more numb.
I have a natural antidepressant right now, so.
Literally.
That's so crazy. Did you ever take grief
No.
No.
No, I didn't.
Did you not want to talk about it, or
I
was it
didn't-
never offered?
I didn't need to. I don't feel like I needed to, because I had really open and honest conversations with Jordan, and mainly my dad. Not that I can't go at my mum, because I absolutely can, but it's just, in my head, it's not what my mum needed right then.
Yeah.
She's got enough on her plate, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I had really open and honest conversations with my dad, which was really fucking helpful. So I didn't think I didn't need to.
Did you ever feel relief from, like, somebody dying? In a way, when you
I
were...
suppose you're relieved that they're not ill anymore,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the other alternative is death, so it's kind of like... I suppose with my grandma, yes, I was relieved because she was suffering a lot longer than my mum was, so it was
Really?
like, God, come on, like, it's got to be one or the other now, like, she's got to get better or she's got to die, like...
Yeah.
And that's how you kind of feel, and it's horrible, but it's like, yeah, you do kind of feel relieved, like, thank God that's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not with my mum, though.
Not with you. Completely
Not at all.
Completely different feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can imagine. I think as well, age definitely does play into that, I would imagine.
Hugely, yeah.
Like, and with your mum being, how old was she, like 40, 50?
53,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
No age, that is it?
I'm not
No.
sure.
So it's cruel, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's not an age where you go, all right, well, it's a full life.
Yeah.
Because if I died at 53, I'd be really pissed off.
That's it. I think
Yeah.
that's another part of grief, is that you are grieving what my mum could have had in that period of time, because it's her life too first. Like, it was weird. When you think about that, you think about birthdays. When birthdays come round, it's like, wow, she's actually not here. It's a strange feeling.
Definitely. Did you feel relief then when your nan went?
In a way, I think I was majorly in denial when she was ill. That I think I'd convinced myself that she was going to get better and come home.
I did that too.
And I felt guilty because I even said it to my granddad. I was like, it'll be fine, she's coming home.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean, he knew that she wasn't before I did.
Really?
Yeah. And I think my mum didn't say anything.
Oh.
And then it was like down to the last minute, really, in my head.
Mm.
But then once she had died, I was like, do you know what? Yeah. Because if she wasn't going to get better, so if she hadn't have died, her quality of life would have been absolutely fucking shite.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And we were talking, like, my granddad was literally looking into like stairlifts and stuff like that whilst we were in the hospital. And I'm like, this isn't sound, because my nana was such an independent, she did, like, such an independent woman, she did everything for herself. She would have fucking seen her ass if she couldn't do anything for herself.
Yeah. I'd
So
be the same.
I felt relief for that. I really did. And then you feel guilty about feeling relief.
I know.
It's horrible. Because you're
Death
like, why am I
is so
relieved
awkward.
that she's dead? Like, I loved this person.
Yeah.
Why am I relieved that she's gone?
Yeah.
But I'm relieved for her that she's not going to have to go through something even fucking worse.
Yeah, because it's not a feeling of gladness.
No,
like,
it's
at
not.
all. You're not glad about it.
No. No, absolutely not.
It's just that thing of, well, I mean, and again, like, if it was me in that position, if I was you, I'd be like, yeah, I wouldn't want to have a poor quality of life.
Absolutely not.
Poor quality of life for me just isn't living.
It's not.
And if you're not living, well,
Yeah.
then I may as well not be here.
Well, yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. So, I mean, after you've experienced that, did you find yourselves with any sort of personality changes?
Well.
I'm like, yes, I feel like I was once like a mouse when it comes to anything at all, and I didn't like chatting back to people or anything like that, whereas now I do feel like I'm way more abrupt and like actually stick up for myself, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, I do feel like I'm more abrupt with the way I talk to people now. Clear. It's clear.
Well, that's really good though, because it's boundary setting.
Exactly.
And you've got to set boundaries for yourself to be happy.
Yeah.
And I fully agree with you. I've had exactly the same thing. I don't half set boundaries now.
Yeah. I've definitely seen that change in both of you, to be fair. Like, and I'm not saying that it's good for you to experience grief in order to acquire that trait.
It's a perk that comes out of it.
Yeah.
That's allowed.
Yeah, I think I think you deserve
Yeah.
something good.
It's
Something
allowed
good
to be
come out of
positive.
it. What do you think? Why do you think then that you've become better at boundary setting as a result of grief? What is it about grief that's kind of enabled that?
I don't actually know. I just feel like something bad has happened and I want to look after myself more, maybe. So I'm just like, I will not let shit slide anymore.
Is it a shifting perspective on life itself then?
Maybe that, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just like, look, I might not be here for that long, so it makes such a difference. You've got to make sure that you're having a good time and it's on your terms when you are here.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that death reminds you of your own mortality. Even if the person was like in their 80s.
Yeah.
Even like when they die, you are reminded, oh shit, I will one day die.
Death's a thing.
Yeah, death's a big thing.
Yeah.
And it does happen.
Yeah.
These rumours that people have been
Yeah. Wow,
been
it's
discussing.
real. What's that about?
God, no way. And it becomes, well, do you know what? My life needs to be the best that it can be.
Yeah.
No matter what. And that means making some fucking hard decisions, and that means putting boundaries in place and making sure that your life is what you want it to be.
Yeah.
You do, you like become a bulldozer. It's really weird all of a sudden.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, especially, I would imagine, not that I think either of you got walked over or anything like that, but to go from being a bit more sort of laid back and a bit more easy breezy of, yeah, I don't mind, to actually, I've got an opinion.
Yeah, I'm fucking bothered.
I'm bothered, and I want this, and this,
Totally.
and that's fine, you know.
Yeah.
Do you think about, like, now that that person's gone, do you think about, like, maybe the relationship that you had with them and your needs, like, certain needs not being met now because they're gone? I mean, it's particularly for you, Izzie, like, you lost your mum.
Yeah, I think it comes down to as well girly things. Like I was kind of saying before, my brother has obviously lost his mum too, but I think there's an element of I've lost the girl in my life, the woman in my life. So it kind of, that becomes, I mean, even stuff like periods, or if I'm having like an issue with my periods or things like that, I'm like, oh my God, like, who do I turn to? I have to actually turn to a doctor. I don't know what to do. I mean, my work colleagues have been amazing for that because they're all women.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's tricky. That's a tricky one to have to deal with.
I think for you in particular as well, you're in a real male-dominated family and
Massively.
a male-dominated friendship group as well.
Hugely. I've been around men just forever. 3 dads, like...
3 dads.
A brother. Like, it's all just men. And don't get me wrong, love them, and they've been amazing with me. But, yeah, I've kind of had to step up and be that woman now, because I'm the only one. So that's been really weird.
Yeah.
It's so nice though that you've got a network of women, like you were saying, with your colleagues. That's absolutely lovely.
Yeah, you need it.
It's so important to have when you've not got the obvious kind of person that everyone goes to in their life is their mum.
Yeah.
Or, generally. That's, I can't imagine what that's like.
What about you with your nan then? Because obviously I know that you were very close to her. She wasn't a parent, obviously, but she's still a grandparent who had an active role in your life.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're missing?
Yeah.
Like something in a way that maybe like she supported you?
Yeah. I mean, the sort of main times that my nan was like constantly in my life was when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up down the caravan site because that's where they used to go every weekend.
Yeah.
And I missed that in the way that I was like raised with my mum and my dad and the way that I was raised with my nan were a little bit different. And it was like when I was with my nan, I would play out all the time and I had to be home at a certain time for tea. It was like a very traditional like setup. And I missed that because it was almost like I got a taste of what my mum's upbringing was like, and that made me feel close to both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that my nana was the original strong woman of our family, and I got a lot of traits from her. Mm-hmm. And she always had fucking sage advice. Always had fucking sage advice. And she taught my mum to be a strong woman. Yeah. No matter what you go through in life. Mm-hmm. And my mum taught me the same, and my nana taught me that. So it's just, I don't know, it just feels like you're losing the original one. Yeah. It's a weird thing to describe, but there's lots about her that I miss. She was very into like spiritual shit as well. I miss that.
That's crazy, by the way, because didn't she palm read?
Yeah.
That's
I love that.
crazy.
Yeah, she was a gifted palm reader.
Yeah, because she wasn't like, she didn't dabble in anything else, did she? Or...
Yeah, she loved a Ouija board.
Oh, did she?
So did my mum. She was
Really?
so witchy vibes, yeah.
Love
she did.
that.
She ended up taking a Ouija board to a graveyard one time, and I was like, Mum, you are insane.
That's crazy.
Sick, I love that.
Did she get anything out of it?
I have no idea.
Oh.
She didn't like to, she'd say she was a psychic, but she knew me and Oscar were kind of scared of that, so she didn't delve into it too much because she didn't want to pass that on to us, I guess, in her mind. You're
You're very intuitive though, I do have to say, because like there's been times, just as a side note, that Izzie has like said something to me and I've been like,
how the fuck do you know that?
Oh god.
And it's been more than once. So it's just so, but I love the fact that that's clearly lived on through you.
I wonder if I delved into it more, I could go more down the psychic route. I don't know, but
would you want to?
I don't know. Maybe as I grow. I don't know. We'll see.
Sod it, it's fun. Let's do it. That's like a fundamentally female thing. I think.
Isn't
it?
That's how we girly pop out.
Absolutely.
Honestly, getting into your 20s in particular is just getting into witchcraft and finding out you're more gay than what you thought you were.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Massively.
And also that experience has not changed throughout the generations, clearly.
No.
No. I was going to say, in terms of grief, you were talking about relationships before.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you had a personality change when that happened?
Yeah.
What, like with my grandparent?
I was going to say your relationship.
My relationship thing. Oh, that's
like, do you feel like you turned into a different human being after that?
Yes. Yeah. 100%. To the point that I had a disagreement with my dad over something.
Okay.
Just completely unrelated. And he went, oh, you've changed. But in a way that was like, because it was a setting boundary, it was an abruptness, it was like, no. Basically the disagreement was, this will probably be another podcast episode, I would imagine. But to summarise it, it was, if my parents wanted to put money into me getting married, so if they wanted to pay for elements of my wedding, that doesn't mean they're buying a stake in my wedding. And
like making decisions.
And making decisions. Because at the end of the day, like, if you want to give money, that's absolutely fine, that's your prerogative, but it will be whatever I want because it's my day and my partner's day.
Yeah.
And we had a disagreement over it. And I went, no, it's either then. I said, I will not accept any money off you then. If that's your...
Yeah.
If that's your thing, if you feel like you get a say in my big day, which, by the way, is not happening. I don't have a ring. This is all hypothetical. So a completely hypothetical argument. I went, well, no. I said, I don't want your money then. I'll pay for it all myself. Like, I don't want anybody having a say.
Moral
Do you think that you would have said that to your dad prior to that breakup?
No. 100%
so
not.
Interesting.
I would have been like, yeah, maybe. I could think about it. And I probably would have kind of just avoided the conflict of that. I think, in particular with my parents, because I've got such a good relationship with them, I don't want to upset that or challenge them in a way that they would maybe even see offence to it. And they did. They saw a little bit of offence to it. And it's not a bad thing. Like, it's... Their opinion isn't right and my opinion isn't right. It's just what I wanted. But it was a very clear... My dad even said it. He went, it felt like a fuck you.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm not meaning it like that. But at the end of the day, if it's my wedding, why would I want what you want? And if you want what you want, you get married again. You have another bloody big day.
Yeah.
Renew your vows. It's my fucking day. So yeah, prior to that breakup, I think in particular with that relationship as well, I just didn't try to play like cool girl about stuff and be so the understanding girlfriend. I bent over backwards so much to be like, oh well, it's just because of this and that's why he's stressed and that's why he's not doing this thing.
I'm such a I do not understand girlfriend. Like, please explain it to me, girlfriend.
Well, now I'm like that. I'll be like,
good.
Why are you being a sack of shit? Like, you know,
absolutely.
like, this isn't washing with me because you wouldn't do this with somebody else. How stupid do you think I fucking am?
Yeah.
So, and that's, again, I think that's why I'm in a really great relationship now, because it was always, I don't need you. You are dessert, effectively. Like, I can take you or leave you, and I am still, like, the same person that I am, and I'm very, like, self-assured in that way. So, because of that, all of the decisions that I've kind of made forward, like, going forward after that, have been so, like, again, boundary setting, which is really weird.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why grief brings out boundaries. Like,
it's a good thing. It's such a good thing.
I think it is just a case of, oh my fucking god, life is too short.
Yeah.
And I think because I looked back on the 4 years we was going out and I was just like, I never ever want to waste my time like that again.
Yeah.
What a complete waste of fucking time and energy. And for what?
Yeah.
To feel unfulfilled.
It's freeing to just be honest about actually how you feel.
Yeah.
About stuff as well.
Exactly.
In that way.
So maybe, grief, it does bring out maybe boundary setting.
It just puts things into perspective.
It does.
Yeah, because you think, shit.
What's important and what isn't, and are those people's feelings important? No, probably not.
No.
Not right now, anyway.
No. Yeah, like the amount of prioritisation that you do for yourself after grieving something like that, whether it be a death or just the death of something, Have
you, like, on about, like, the way that you've changed and the things that you felt as well in your experiences with the anticipatory grief that you're having with, like, your grandparent at the moment, have you had any of that? Because we were talking about the stages of grief before and, like, the feeling of, like, relief and guilt and all those things. Have you had any kind of inklings of that yet?
I think I'm still firmly in the denial stage. There was I twigged the other day quite badly, so I was leaving, I was visiting my grandparents, and, like, I try and go up and see them for an hour or so where I can, like, between work and weekends and whatever. And, like, we try and take them out, but obviously that's becoming more difficult because you don't know how, like, my grandparent who's ill is going to behave in public sometimes. But I'd gone and visited them, and I got in the car, and usually, like, my grandparent who's ill will sit in their chair and, like, I won't really see them. I'll say goodbye to my other grandparent, wave, right? My grandparent who's ill got up and just waved at me goodbye from the window and pulled away in the car, and it set me off because I was like, oh,
babe.
I was like, oh God, that's like, he's, you know, like they're gonna not remember me at some point. I don't even know whether they remember me now.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like an air of familiarity, but like the names will go soon, and then it'll be not recognising who I am.
Yeah.
I mean, I daren't even bring round Joss sometimes because that's such a new person.
Might be confusing.
Yeah, because like one of the times that I did bring Joss round, they turned around and went, "Who's this?
Yeah.
Why's this guy in my house?" And I was like, "Oh, and you don't want them to become hostile because like."
Well, they'll get scared.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Because
where that comes from.
if some bloke who I didn't know was in my gaff, I'd be like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah, get out, lad.
So, but it's funny because like Jordan, Jasmine's boyfriend, who's been around probably like 5 or 6 years now, he's fine. He's fine. Like like my grandparent still remembers Jordan, and sometimes asks about him weirdly as well. But again, that's another funny thing that happens with like illness and.
Do you mind me asking, what is it dementia?
It's Lewy body syndrome, so I think that's it's Alzheimer's dementia.
Right.
Yeah. But it's obviously there's the forgetting, but then they also hallucinate stuff and see stuff. So when they first started getting diagnosed, I remember one of the things was that they'd see spiders and stuff, and they'd tell you to be careful of like a spider on the floor, which obviously, as a person who's not ill and not great with spiders, you think fucking where?
Why does it have to be spiders?
Yeah. So like you're like, oh. But then when you realise it's like a hallucination, like, and they're not actually seeing it. But it must be terrifying for them as well, and that hurts because it's like, of all the hallucinations, fucking spiders.
Horrendous. I remember like my great grandparent had dementia.
Yeah.
And she started calling me Gail, my mum's name, and she would call my mum Jean, my nana's name.
Oh no.
So it's like we skipped a gen.
Yeah.
So what did she call Jean then?
Sometimes didn't know who she was.
Really?
That's her own daughter.
Oh, I see what you mean. So she thought.
I wonder if she was thinking of your mum, but at a younger stage.
Yes.
So you're the nearest thing.
Yeah.
So her brain's just.
She's like living in a yesteryear.
Yeah.
So because of my age, I must be Gail. And because of Mum's age, she must be Jean. Because Jean can't be that old. Who's this woman?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So I understand I sort of understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
Because I know how hard that was for my mum.
Yeah, but I don't think it's quite... I'm always a bit weird with grief, actually, because, again, maybe it's just because nobody really close to me has died. I go at it in such, like, a logical way, and I just fucking know that when it does eventually happen, all that's just going to go out the window, and I'm going to look like a knobhead.
You don't react like you think you do.
Like, because I remember I had a great uncle die, and I was a bit like, right, that's that. And I was just very sort of... That's the end. But again, it's not somebody who's really close.
Me too, though. Like, I've had people die, and it sounds awful. It's not that I didn't care, but it's like it didn't affect me in any way. So I kind of thought, maybe grief just isn't a thing that happens to me.
Yep.
Like, maybe it's just something that my body doesn't do. And then, obviously, this happened, and it's like, no, yeah, I do, I grieve.
Yeah, exactly. There's also, actually thinking about it, it's not something that I thought about before the episode, but there's, like, times where you grieve for weird people. In particular, I always get, like, a funny feeling around when it's people who maybe I know who are my age. That's happened a few times, especially being from a smaller town, you know very immediately. We've had, like, different things that have happened. I don't want to touch on it too much, obviously, because I want to keep that private.
It's very sensitive when people are that young.
Yeah. But that always makes me feel... I think it's grief. Because it's...
You're grieving the potential of that person because you relate to them so heavily because they're the same age as you or a very similar age to you.
Yeah.
And you know the potential that you have and the things that you'll probably go on to do in life and you're excited for them.
Yeah.
And there's just... It's never going to happen.
Yeah. And that fucking sucks. Like, and it doesn't matter if you know them that well, liked them that well. You know, it none of it matters because it's that fuck. Like, they're my age and they're not here anymore, and they could have been so much.
And also the fucking reminder that actually I'm not indestructible because I'm in my 20s.
Yeah.
Life is so fragile, and you realise that when someone your age dies, because you're like, holy shit, that could have been me.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it again, it's just very weird. But that then also makes me think about, like, that kind of segues on to how I feel about grieving and social media.
Yeah.
And, like, the appropriateness and what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, because we live in such a weird time now where...
I think it's changed the course of grief because, our parents didn't have social media.
No.
So their grief wasn't documented in the way that ours is.
Mm.
And to be perfectly honest, mate, I think there should be fucking rules around it.
They should. They so should.
People are fucking weird with it
They're
on
so
social
odd.
media.
Like, particularly as well, when I think about, like, when people have died who are my age, and then the type of people that speak about them, maybe, say, for example, if it is somebody who you've gone to school with, and it's like, then you have other people who went to school with them who are speaking about it, it's like,
Yeah.
there's bits where I'm like, oh, how...
There's like a way to go about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But also, I think that people can overshare on social media. I mean, I know that it sounds hypocritical because I know that we've just said, people should talk more about grief. But, like...
Don't talk about it, actually.
Actually, shut the fuck up. But, like, I think there's a way to go about it, and I think, to me, please just be fucking considerate of the fact that other people are seeing your content who are going through something that you don't fucking know about, and your content might make them feel fucking worse.
Yeah. Like, explicit photos.
Yeah, mind your photos, mind your fucking words, mate.
Yeah.
You know?
Particularly, it's a pet peeve of mine, but I've never liked the holding Nan's hand while she's dying
I hate that shit, to be fair.
in a hospital bed. The world doesn't need to see it.
No.
That's a private moment that is for you.
Yeah, like, if you want to take a photo and have that as, like, a keepsake.
For you.
For you. Yeah.
But you know, John down the road doesn't need to see it on Facebook.
No.
At fucking 2 PM in the afternoon on Tuesday.
No.
Imagine if you're on your deathbed and someone's got their phone out taking a picture of your hand.
Be like, sorry, Nan, just...
The way that I would literally
adjust.
whip my hand up and slap him in the face.
Your dying move.
That would be my dying moment. Yeah.
Sorry, just to left a bit. It's just not quite in the filter.
Lads. Lads. It's like if my grandkid did that, the way I'd literally... as I'm leaving the world, I'm taking him out with me.
Absolutely.
Dickhead.
Literally,
Don't do that.
I've never really got that. Because again, not that grief should be private. It's so difficult, isn't it? Because it's like, yes, talk about it, but like maybe don't social mediaise it.
No.
Yeah. On the one hand, no one can tell you how to grieve. On the other hand, just be fucking considerate of other people.
Just be normal.
Just stop being fucking weird about it.
Yeah. Particularly, like, we were talking about, like, Liam Payne or whatever.
Yes.
That, and the way that his girlfriend...
It's like she can't do anything right.
No.
It's like she either is grieving online and being sad and people are like, how dare you, like, you're making money off his death, or she's with the girls having cocktails and it's like, you don't even care that he died.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do?
And then you've also got the other element of it, of, like, the way that he... Perhaps his final moments probably weren't the most respectful towards her, you know, and people are going, well, why are you grieving him? Because he was with so-and-so and he was doing this.
Relationships are complicated. Would you believe it?
Yeah.
Shock. Do you know what I mean?
And he had his own, like, issues.
Of course he did, yeah.
Yeah, like, that were eventually probably the reason for his death, you know.
Yeah.
But there's no correct way to grieve. It's like, you've got to be seen on social media as fucking miserable.
I know, I really struggled with that. I was like, every time I posted around that time, I was like, do I post this? And it's like, why am I even questioning it? This is what I'm doing today. Like, why does it matter?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
were you worried that you were seen to be too happy as well?
Yeah. Like, I'm not allowed to laugh. Actually, it was like that when she was ill as well. I remember being out on my birthday, my 22nd birthday. And I remember... I was having a good time and I knew my mum was at home unwell and I was like, I shouldn't be having a good time right now.
Oh.
Which is insane. It's my birthday, I'm allowed. She would want me to do that. But there's just the guilt surrounding it is insane.
Yeah. I think the way, I loved the way as well that you, I guess, mourned your mum in the event that you had at the Hope.
Oh, right, yeah,
Yeah.
like a wake. Well,
Like
we
a
weren't
wake.
allowed a wake. We weren't allowed a normal funeral. We were allowed a very minuscule, like it was 10 people that were allowed at the
Jesus.
funeral. It's just horrible having to choose.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're allowed, you're not, though. Like, that's so unfair. But we did it like that, and then obviously no wake, because you weren't allowed one because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, 2 years, maybe it was 2 or 3, I can't really remember now.
It was a while.
It was a while later,
Yeah.
we ended up having a big party at the Hope, which actually, once again, calling the pandemic a blessing is not great, but it was a blessing in disguise in the way that it's like, I'm glad that I didn't have to do the wake there and then when I was at the funeral, because I was in such a weird, confused, numb headspace. Whereas I could do it a few years later and actually talk happily about the memories of my mum and things like that, whereas I couldn't have done that straight away.
Yeah,
No
and
way.
it was a celebration of life, and there's some really, like, lovely photos of that day.
Yeah.
And I think, like, that is a nice thing to have on social media.
Yeah. Oh, definitely,
Like,
yeah.
we had such a wonderful day, and
That's a beautiful memory, though.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's lovely.
And my dad's played in the band. I've got like 3 dads, but 2 of them, 2 of them are in a band together. So they did that as well, which was really nice. So everyone just showed up and like, today's about her. Let's all just show up and be together and have a good time. And
That was lovely.
it was really nice.
That's a really interesting point, actually, that you got time to yourself before having to do the wake and stuff, because, God, in a way, I wish I'd have had that.
Oh, yeah, because you wouldn't have done.
It was
Well,
immediate
no.
for you, yeah.
It was immediate for me.
And it was the same vibes as well in terms of, like, the celebration of life
Yes,
thing.
it
Everybody
was.
wearing, like, big bold colours.
Yeah,
and...
we did colours,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was specific. My nana was very specific
Yeah.
about that. But we had 4 family members dying that year.
That was
And there was just no time.
No.
Insane.
And a couple of family members I wasn't really that close to, but it still impacts you.
Yeah.
I was still
hugely.
I wouldn't normally have maybe been as sad about them as because my nana was the first to die that year, and then her cousin, who I knew from being a kid, died a couple of months later. Then it was my dad's uncle.
Yeah.
And then my great aunt died.
Yeah.
All literally in the space of a year.
Yeah. And I bet you
And I got married that year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet you were thinking about it more because you were thinking about wedding guests.
Insane, yeah.
Mad. Absolutely mad.
Yeah.
There was just no time. So that would have been nice. That would be great.
Maybe you should, if somebody dies, maybe, give yourself a hot minute. And by a hot minute, I mean a couple of years. Until you have,
A couple of years was good. Yeah, it worked.
Yeah. Because it did, because I think you had it planned as well and you moved it.
Yeah, so once again, I don't know whether we went into another lockdown, but we went into more rules.
Yes, I remember.
So it was still going, the pandemic was still going at this point, so we ended up being right, we're not doing it now because people won't come, and I don't know if it's the wrong thing to do now. So we waited another year, I think it was the summer after or something like that, and we did it then instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It was the
Actually
right
love
thing
that.
to do. It felt really correct. The whole thing, the band, it was great.
Because you could, at that point, I suppose there's enough time has passed where you can actually be happy without feeling guilt at that event.
Yeah. And you can actually talk about the person.
Yeah.
People can come, because there was friends from school that my mum had that I'd never met before that came, because they saw it on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying these amazing things about my mum from when she was at school, and how funny she was and things like that. And it was I couldn't have done this immediately after a funeral.
No.
It would have
I
been
just couldn't have done it.
so overwhelming.
So overwhelming.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, do you ever feel then or did you ever feel at that point, on the run up to the wake, that people were watching you, social media wise, as to...
There was a bit of that, definitely, and there was also a murmuring of, I don't want to say names, but why is she doing it now when she died 2 or 3 years ago? Why is she doing it now? Which is big fuck you. I can do it whenever I want, it's my mum.
Well, exactly, get a fucking grip. Why
there was
matter?
kind of, it felt like pressure for sure, and for it to go smoothly as well, because it was, once again, I'm the woman and I had to step up and I planned the whole thing, so that was all on me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Oscar.
Well, yeah.
Good effort, that girl.
I know. I think you're right, though, that time that you had definitely was for the best.
Yeah.
I agree.
100%. It does make me think about, how do you carry on after grief? Like, I don't get when people, obviously, again, like, it's not happened to me, but, like, how do you carry on after something like that's happened? Because when I, like, my closest, you know, sort of conception of grief is, like, my last relationship, I quit my job. I was unemployed for 2 months.
Fair.
And I moved back home, and I moved in with my parents.
Yes.
And, yeah, like, I'd got a new job.
You had a little bit of a rebirth, babe.
I was just like, fuck this. We're leaving that, we're parking that, and we're doing something else. But obviously you can't do that when... If you did that every time somebody died, well...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
a lot of planning, that.
It's a lot, yeah. It's a lot of life changes.
Too much logistics, that.
So, how do you go to work? I know that sounds really stupid, but, like, if my mum died, for example, in your case, Izzie, I'd be fucking useless. Like
Yeah,
I don't
genuinely, you wow, mate, to be fair.
You just have to get on with it. You've got no other choice, have you? So it's kind of like, you've just got to do it. I mean, my bosses were amazing in that period of time. They didn't put any pressure on me. But, sorry, I'm not crying. They didn't put any pressure on me. But I, at the same time, was like, no, I kind of feel like I need to come back to work because I need the routine. I need to be doing normal, in quotation, things.
Did you have time off at first then?
Yeah, I had, maybe it was like a week or 2 weeks off. I can't really remember now, but it was also during COVID.
Oh,
so they kind of coincide a little bit. I'm like not sure actually which was the COVID part and which was the grief part. I don't really remember, but yeah. They were so amazing with me, but I still was just like, no, I'm gonna have to come back. So
did you feel better once you were at work? Did it distract you?
Once again, it was the numbness part, so I was like just getting on with it.
Yeah.
As long as no one asked me about it, it was fine.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
What about you? Because you were working when you...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd actually just started.
You're joking.
Oh,
just started my fucking job. So, I mean, it must... my literal work must have been like, you're fucking joking. You've been here like 2 weeks, mate. And I think I had a couple of weeks off as well, because I just could not be away from that hospital.
Yeah.
And then I did go back to work pretty quick. Again, I think the routine was helpful.
Yeah.
Because it was... My job's pretty busy, so I didn't have time to think about it.
Yeah.
And I needed to put it off for a bit.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So yeah, that was helpful. And then God love her, my work must have thought I was taking the absolute piss because of 4 funerals in a year. They must have done. But they were great, to be fair. They were like, yeah, sound, no problem.
That's really good.
Yeah.
That is really good.
They're amazing.
This is the thing, like, if I have any of my grandparents die, imagine me trying to explain I've got 6 grandparents, because, like, at my age as well, at my big age, I'm 26, and I've got 6 grandparents, they're like, you tried
Do you,
that?
yeah?
Do you, yeah? So, yeah, I mean, hopefully...
Yeah, how many times has this granddad died?
I know, I dread that explanation. So yeah, I mean, what are your tips then, I would ask, to get through it? Or is it just, it's not you it's not you doing anything, it just happens to you? Or is there anything that you can do to kind of like muddle your way through grief?
I think for me, you're always going to muddle your way through grief.
Yeah.
Because it's brand new. And it's going to be different every time as well.
Really?
Because of the person, I think.
Oh, right.
Because of the person that's died.
Yeah.
So you're going to react a little bit differently every time. But I think, I don't know, it really depends on the kind of person that you are. You just have to address your needs as they come. Like, you have to really sit down and think to yourself, what is it that I need right now? And whatever it is, don't feel guilty about doing it.
Okay.
Like, you might need the routine, but that will become immediately obvious to you.
Yeah.
Because you'll end up sitting at home going, I am going to tear my own hair out if I don't fucking do something useful. Some people are like that. Some people need that time where they just don't do anything because they need time to process. That's also equally as fine. It really just depends on what you feel is right.
Did you ever get self-destructive during grief?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Oh, I fucking drank.
Did you?
Yeah. Tanned it.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough.
Like high-functioning machine on alcohol.
I was about to say I didn't, but then I remembered New Year.
Oh, yes.
The end of 2020 into 2021 New Year, I walked home. Obviously my mum had died in May. Me and Josh had broke up, so we weren't together for like 4 months or something.
Yeah.
I was just like, this has been the most horrific year, but I was also really upset that I was leaving the year that my mum was in. So I don't know how to explain that, but it was like, my mum was in 2020, I'm leaving that year now, and I couldn't handle that. So I just cried a lot on my walk home, and there's a guy who I do kind of know. I'm not saying that I should have done this, but I do kind of know him.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up to me and was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, and then just cried on this guy.
Oh.
And he said, do you want a cigarette with me? And I said, yes. So he said then, oh, I don't have my lighter, my flat is literally there, just come in. In any other circumstance...
Girl.
Dude.
In it.
I didn't know this.
Self-destruction.
Oh
in
my
any
God.
other circumstance, I cannot imagine myself ever doing that. It's insane.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, okay. Am I crazy? So I went with him, totally fine, by the way.
yeah.
Not the point, but totally fine.
Yeah.
So we sat down. He also poured me a drink.
Yeah.
And he actually said, just watch me pour it. Just for...
Okay.
Oh, fair play to him.
Yeah,
That's
fair
quite nice.
So he poured it. I still didn't
I was
drink
going to say,
any of it.
did you have the
yeah.
nail polish? Did you put your nail polish in the drink?
So, like, I was like, right, okay. And then I didn't end up drinking any of the drink because I think I kind of sobered up and was like, holy shit, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Anyway, I smoked with him. He actually lost his dad. So we were kind of having a bit of a conversation, and then I left. And I was safe and fine, and I went home. However... women, don't do that.
Please don't do that.
Please do not do that. But I just know that was the self-destructive brain. That was the I don't give a shit. Yeah.
Anything could happen to me right now, and I just don't care.
I wasn't even thinking about it. Like,
Yeah.
how weird is that? Because I would never do that now.
Yeah, because you kind of...
I've got my head screwed on, I
Yeah.
think.
Like, you...
Not then, I didn't know.
It does weird things to you, though.
Yeah,
you don't
it
think the same.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean about... That's so interesting. You just nailed it on the head. About leaving your mum in that year.
Yeah.
I've never thought about it that way, and
Yeah.
that's absolutely what fucking happens.
It's like gut-wrenching. You're like, all of a sudden, like, oh, Happy New Year. Shit. Like,
Holy shit.
I just left my mum behind. That's
I'm-
gone.
I've got to move forward.
Yeah.
And I don't want to.
No.
Because I remember being at the meeting place, and bear in mind, my husband's on stage, the room is full of people, it's loud as fuck, we're all having a great time.
Yeah.
The ball drops, and I was like, fuck. Oh my God. And I walked outside and I cried my eyes out.
Yeah.
Did you?
It's
Yeah.
so real.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Fucking horrible. Because it feels like you're leaving that person in that year. It's horrible.
Time has to go on, and it's like that realisation of it's New Year. Time is moving whether I like it or not.
See, I guess I kind of had that, but, like, obviously I was like, see you later.
Time's moving, woo!
Get in.
Let's
move
go.
quicker.
So,
Running in the other direction.
yeah. Bye. Yeah, that's absolutely mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, because that's it. It's chapter done, door closed.
It's gone.
Yeah. And also, the tip on that one, just do your best to be alright with it. Have you cry. Do what you need to do. But honestly, it's going to be alright. And realistically, you've not left them in that year because they carry on with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're constantly thinking about it.
Yeah, it's that things where they pop up. You'll do something, I bet, and they'll pop up in that behaviour.
Yeah.
You'll be like, oh, I'm just doing the same thing that this person,
Yes.
this relative, this friend, did.
And you will bonk a branch on your boyfriend if you have an argument.
Yes.
That's so funny. Right.
Well.
I feel like this was a lovely conversation, by the way, and it was really nice to have you here. Izzie.
Yeah,
God,
thank
I feel
you
like
so
that was
much.
therapy. Yay.
Thank you so much for joining us
Honestly,
on this.
thank you
Yeah.
for having me. I've actually really enjoyed it. It's been sad, but I've enjoyed it.
We'll
That's
get
really
you
good.
back on for a really happy episode.
I love
next
that. I really love that.
time. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I think this yappening has officially come to an end.
It has indeed.
Well,
Right, well, I'll see you on the next one, I guess.
absolutely, mate.
All right.
Yeah.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye. Oh no.
What do you think?
Will we have to do this again? Should we do it again? Let's do it again in case I get
Okay,
cancelled.
right, okay. Jordan, we're doing a retake because Sian said a fucking slur.